Okay, I apologize. We haven't done Kirk history tidbits for a little while. Don't worry, you're not going to see anything on your screen here for a minute. I just have the lens cap on while I give a quick explanation of what we're doing. So after we did all the main stained glass in the sanctuary, I then decided I'd do a bit of snooping on some other features in our church. I know there's still the piece to do in the hall, but I thought I'd continue on with a few more things in the sanctuary before we did that. So I've done some research on regimental colors and on a few other things. And today we're actually going to be talking about what is likely a very recognizable piece of our sanctuary, but one we maybe don't give too much thought to. So I'm going to pop the lens off here. So that is the light fixture, the main light fixture in the sanctuary of the Kirk. And there is an amazing story on this fixture, and Amy was able to have a look at our records, and she pulled out a bunch of records from 1898 about the purchase of this very unique chandelier. So we're going to have a look at that today and talk about some of the neat little bits of information that we have on it. It's kind of weird filming here. It looks like it's suspended in space, but it's not. There's the ceiling. It's just the way the light is in the sanctuary. So I haven't brought the original documents into the hall. Amy very carefully scanned them. So these are copies, all mostly dating from 1898, talking about the chandelier, how it was ordered, and how it was modified to suit our sanctuary. So this is the bill from IP Frink. Frink's Improved Reflectors. Frink's was a company in New York that did custom light fixtures for a number of places like museums, opera houses, churches, and other places like that. I don't know how we got connected to Frink's, but that is where we ordered our piece from. So it's hard to see. It's dated August 8th, 1898 from Frink's Improved Reflectors. And this is the bill for the original, for the fixture. Over here, from August 9th, 1848, there's a couple pieces here. It's about the shipping of this piece and how it's coming to us. Here we come to something interesting, because after the chandelier arrived at the Kirk, it was clear that the person who they're conversing with here is called Reverend A. Lord, and he was unhappy with the product when he received it. And so Frink's wrote back, and there's just a few things I've underlined in these copies that I found interesting. So what they did was, Frink's did both gas lighting and electric lighting, and when we originally ordered ours, the specifications and the pictures were for gas lighting. And Frink's adjusted our piece to suit our sanctuary specifically. But those changes must have caught the people at the Kirk off guard, and they wrote kind of unhappy with the product. So originally, there had to be a certain amount of spacing in our fixture to suit the gas and how heat and things would have to be vented. Because ours is electric, the reflectors were actually done differently. And so Frink explains why they modified our certain piece and talks about how it's going to benefit us. And they talk about how, you know, we can drop the roll of lights that you're saying you're unhappy with, but we think they'll not look better, and in fact you won't get as nice a light as you do. And so they explain it, they give a breakdown kind of our chandelier and how it's laid out in this drawing. And at the end of the letter, Frink says, you know, we assure you, have we made any errors, we would be only too glad to correct them, as our motto is to satisfy our customers as far as possible when we are in the wrong, no matter what the expense. But we trust by looking carefully into the matters, you will see that we've made the reflectors as we thought best for your advantage, and to give you the most light from them. So Frink's lights, and you'll notice this on ours, where the lights are in these drawings is always below almost kind of like a mirrored I don't know if it's mirror specifically, it doesn't say that I can find, that reflects light back down. So you're getting a lot more light in your space. So I don't have any other correspondence which suggests that the explanation that they got satisfied them as to why the alterations were made on the particular piece that we received. So that's kind of the personalized drawing of the one that we have. We also have from what's the Red Cross line and Pickford and Black's lines, we have the shipping information for how it came here. And because you can find anything on the internet, I actually went digging and I found a copy online of the catalog for Frink's reflectors. And so you'll see here this is what ours looks like with some modification. There's one that's slightly more ornate, but ours has the cleaner line up along the top here. The other thing that was misunderstood is when we ordered the prisms that hang down here, and we were billed, the argument was we were billed too much. But the problem was when we did the order, we had looked at the price for a shorter prism, and we actually ordered a longer prism. So that was also something that they had to sort out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the camera off for a second, and I'm going to go up to the balcony where we can have another look at our light. So here we are up in the balcony, and you can see the prisms that hang along the outside edge there. You can see the lights in the center. So that was one of the points of contention. It was the placement of those lights and whether it was the church believed they were not optimally placed, but in the end it was because they'd been looking at the specs for the gas version. You can also see the lights along the top there, and you can kind of see how that reflector light works up there. So Frink pieces like this are extremely rare to come by now. So our particular chandelier is actually a really neat item to have. And it's an excellent example of his work that's kind of difficult to find preserved from what I've seen. So that beautiful piece there lights up our sanctuary every week. We received it in 1898, and after some correspondence and back and forth, we had it installed, and it's hung there ever since. So it's kind of a neat piece of our architecture, and it's kind of funny because Grayson, when he was a baby, was absolutely captivated by this. And I think it's because it's so shiny and bright when you look up from underneath of it. It was actually really hard to film this video because the reflector on the chandelier works so well, it creates kind of like a halo of light that's hard to film. So I've done my best kind of back and forth trying to figure out when the optimal time to film this was. So we're here kind of mid-afternoon looking at that right there. So this is known as an IP Frink reflector chandelier light. It came from New York in 1898. It is excellently preserved and kind of a rare piece in today's world. So I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about this, and the next time you come into the church, you can take a minute to look at it and just see how it looks and how it works. All right, everyone, have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.